Am I starting?
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Geek Show. Here, sorry, Leon's Corner. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of waking up. So, welcome to Leon's Corner. I'm glad to have you here as usual. Um, uh, dang it. This is Leon, and I'm gonna bring you the best. So, today's topic is consoles. As many of you might have a console that you really like. Um, well, I have quite a few consoles. I mean, man, talking about collecting consoles. I started with the Atari 2600, which was back in the days, was my favorite console. Um, I remember how I got my hands on it because back then, um, I heard this friend of mine actually had one, and we really wanted it. So um, we have to change a food processor to get the console and the games, which was, well, my mom didn't quite like that idea, but she went with it. So it was kind of funny. I got funny stories about owning an Atari um, to 2600. I remember the first time we have to take it for repairs. Actually, that thing, we have to take it for repairs like at least twice. And one of the things that happened the first time around we took it to repair, we just had to wait uh, for I don't know, couple minutes to get it because the call we had like different color strips appearing, and it got overheat. You could say that once the console gets overheat, then it starts having difficulties, and one was showing color strips. So we had taken that console to for repairs at least twice. One time was kind of hilarious because we took the we took the console and to get it fixed, and the man who fixed that console for us happened to live on a street where there it was like a little hill. So uh, I guess I don't know if I don't know if my mom accidentally forgot to put the emergency brake, but suddenly we saw the car moving, and the car went downhill, and we were chasing after the car, and I thought that was kind of funny. A good thing there was no cars coming by, because the car just went downhill. And imagine um, three people chasing after a car downhill. Yeah. And the other thing, it was a good thing I wasn't a big deal with. So that was kind of funny. Uh, um, I had quite a few games on the Atari 260. Um, some of my favorite one that I can recall is Pac-Man and Tanks. I mean Combat. Those two they're my favorites. But then uh, for one birthday, my dad gave me Pac-Man Junior, and another birthday he gave me Donkey Kong. But uh, he gave me the wrong game because it was for the seven. I believe it was the 720. Oh god, I forget the model. But he got me those two, and then another birthday he bought me Desert Falcon, which became my favorite um, Atari game. Man, I loved that game so much that I would play that game for hours. I mean, besides Combat and Baseball and Pac-Man, I would mostly play Desert Falcon. But we also had soccer. We had Star Wars. We had the Empire Strikes Back, which at that time I thought it was a dumb game because the way it goes, you're supposed to hit the you're on your on your speeder, and you're supposed to be destroying the 88 ATST walker or the snow walkers, and you didn't do but just fly. And one of the things was that you have to hit the walkers for a long time, but you need to avoid getting shot too. So every time you hit the walkers, they had to change into different colors, and you finally blew it up, and that was your. Like I said, at first I didn't. I mean, I didn't like the game because of that fact, but hey, mythic zombie, welcome to Leon's Corner. Welcome. Glad to have you here. So, as I was saying, as I was saying that, and then there was the other Star Wars game, the Return of the Jedi, which actually there were like two games, one that wasn't released, that was based on the Ewoks. Oh man, Electric Hawk, welcome and thanks for the cheer. I appreciate that. So, there were two games actually that from Return of the Jedi. One was your classic battle at in destroying the Death Star, and the other game was never released, which was the Ewok one. So we once we lost our attorneys. Actually, the first time I came to the US, I told my aunt to save the Atari for me, and well, she kept it along with the games and everything. But later on in 1991, I'll never forget my first Christmas. Actually, that was when we had the Nintendo, and me and my brother had to go under an agreement. We actually did the legally owners uh, ownership, co-ownership. So the idea was that um, my grandpa bought us the system along with the two games. I believe one was Punch Out and the other one was Super Mario 2. I think I do not remember that Christmas well, but uh, in the other hand, my dad had bought me Stanley: The Search of Dr. Livingstone, which was one of my favorite games at the time, and now I have those games on an emulator, so I could go back to the Nintendo days, the Atari days. But anyway, my brother had the Empire Strikes Back. Um, Road Gaming Elite, welcome to the show and thanks for the hype. I appreciate that. Uh, so yeah, we did this quote unquote ownership. So that meant that half I own half of the bit as the owner of the system, and you kind of get greedy in a sense. You kind of get greedy in a sense. Uh, so yeah. Um, we get my grandpa. The thing about my grandpa is that he used to printers and all that. He would occasionally get us a Nintendo game as a surprise. We didn't know which game he would get us, but he would definitely get us a game on his trips. So there was a time where things were getting kind of hairy between me and my brother. Um, so uh, we had to do something about the co-ownership um, deal because it wasn't working. So I we before we came, we decided that since my grandparents gave us money for Christmas that time, I we decided okay, I would buy my brother's part of the Nintendo by paying my with my money, so I would have the full ownership of the Nintendo, and I would pay my brother with pay him in cash for it. So or it worked fine. I mean, it was a win-win situation as the original plan where I used to be the second player and now it went vice versa. So later on, when we came here to the US, we had quite a few games with us, and um, eventually we started getting more game. I mean, uh, in a sense, I became myself greedy, and I just started buying games because I mean, the Nintendo era was such a mind blowing, era, and you wanted to have more. Of course, with every video game, you wanted to have more. So I I started buying games, had certain games that I um some games came from a friend of mine. Actually, he gave me some of his games. Um, I had done trades. I trade a certain item I get for my birthday for a couple games. So I mean, well, you know how you always get greedy with games. So later on, when I went back to Guatemala on a visit, I um cool. I'll do that. Jesus.
Repeat your call
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I went a little sidetrack. But yeah. So when it comes to video games, yeah, everybody tends to get greedy. So I went back and visited my family, back to Guatemala, spent some time with family, my grandparents, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts, and we went to visit my godmother. So yeah, uh, I ran across her younger son, and he looked the way her older son looked like when we were little kids. So I mistook him for his brother. It was so hilarious because I did that twice in the same day. So we went to my godmother's house a day, visit her, and by that time, I'm gonna get a little sidetrack here because that time I had this Star Wars uh, trilogy special edition. So I took my Star Wars special edition videos to his house, and they were the gold edition. And my godmother's son loves Star Wars, so we made a deal, and my godmother got mad at it, but she accepted anyways. We he traded me his Super Nintendo for my Star Wars collection. So I had to think, okay, it's been years since Star Wars came out because we're talking back in the 70s, 80s. And I have the special edition, golden edition in my hands, and I'm saying, okay, so a Super Nintendo with games for my Star Wars. I thought about it and we did the trade. My godmother was mad, but it happened. So that's how I gained my Super Nintendo. Later on, uh, I mean, this was like not my first visit. Actually, it was a recent visit because on 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 the previous visit, oh no, I didn't have the PlayStation yet. We're talking about 94, 95, I believe 95, 96. Anyway, um, later on, 97, when the next big thing was the Sony PlayStation, everybody was like, wow, the Sonic PlayStation's coming out. And at that time, we had my brother bought the Sega Genesis, and I had the Nintendo, so we were happy. I had the Nintendo, my brother had the Sega. We each had our own system. There were no fights. Well, literally, I bought some Sega games for myself, this and that. But all right, guys, listen. I'm gonna take a break, and I'll be right back. So, guys, feel free to talk to each other, uh, chat amongst yourselves, and I'll be right back.
Hey, you met your goal within one stream. Your follower goal. I had a follower goal for you. 100 followers. From the way you're starting, yeah. It's supposed to be an hour and a half hour, but since you started early like you did, it's 2 hours.
Commercials or not?
No,
Hey guys, I'm back. So, anyway, as I was.
now commercial.
And you can stay outside. Dishes, you know.
Because she's still smoking us.
Seven viewers right now. So are we gonna enlarge my commercials or not really?
Yeah, we're gonna up your time frame that you have with they show. We'll increase that.
I mean, I was blown away by the way I look at 10 and it was barely the 9. I'm like, what? So I'll have my first
pay out within a month. Within a month.
More than likely.
And tomorrow is when Twitch calculates your revenue tomorrow.
So it's gonna be more because of that.
Yeah. Because of today.
I can't really wait till we put my merch and the other stuff.
Yeah.
But you said that's gonna come once I get the other computer though.
Yeah. Because I could put it up on, set it up with your streaming apps with the PC, and you get alerts when people purchase your merch and stuff
So
like that.
this TV is gonna go to my room, right? When
yes. And so, yeah, because you'll have a regular monitor like one of these along with the other one. And everything.
And I'm gonna have to store the other two TVs.
Yeah.
Are we back?
Yeah.
Alright, so guys, enough for the second anyway, as I was saying, during 1997 was the beginning of the PlayStation era. So I remember saving. It was kind of hard for me to get it, and by any luck, my mom actually can't remember if I saved the money or my mom bought it for me. I just forgot about it, but once I had it, I think I bought it, and my friend, one of my closest friends, he's like a brother to me. He actually, hey, Sinus, what's up, man? Welcome to Leon's Corner. So yeah, he had couple PlayStation games, and actually he gave me two games and a demo, and the demo was Final Fantasy VII. So I played that demo. I loved playing that demo. I mean, it wasn't the full game, it was just the first mission, but I loved it so much. And I remember on that particular Christmas day, I told my mom I wanna have Final Fantasy VII, so she bought me that game. So that was actually, it was my second PlayStation game, second or third. So then what happened was that I had another friend during I had another friend at that time. He was younger than me, and I used to stay at his house on the weekends. We played Parasite Eve, a game that I already mentioned before. That was my first time, and I saw him playing the level of the hospital, and I'm like, heck, I wanna have that game now. So yeah, it's funny because at the same time I saw the Parasite Eve 2. And hey, Dragon Slayer, welcome to Leon's Corner, and thanks for the hype, man. I appreciate that. So So yeah, I I saw both Parasite Eve and Parasite Eve 2. I think both of he had both of them, and I told my mom on another Christmas if she could get them for me, and she did. So now I was happy because I had Parasite Eve 1, Final Fantasy 7. I got my favorite games with me. Uh, the thing is, as time passed by, I did some wrong auctions, and still today I'm kicking my butt for trading those games. But I admit I had fun with those games, and the ending of Parasite Eve was, well, kind of crazy. Um, um, yeah. Man. So anyway, I also had ay, ay, ay. Um, um, I got other games. Resident Evil, which I talked about. Oh, I Director Scott. It's funny because that I actually I had to save my lunch money, and I was still in high school. I had to save my lunch money because I really wanted that game, and a friend of mine sold me that game for $20. So there was a deal. He let me have the game. Eventually, I would be I would be paying him like $5 at $5 a day for 5 weeks until I had the full 20. So that worked fine. So my empire of games grew up. Um, Sadly not. Yeah. So then after a while, I kept on getting more PlayStation games. Um, um, yeah. In time, I played Metal Gear Solid, which again I'm pumping into games I already talked about. But the funny thing is, if it wasn't for if it wasn't for what you call it, if it wasn't for Metal Gear Solid, I wouldn't been to the Metal Gear games. I had I had that game. Let me get a drink. Give me a second, guys. So, wow. So yeah, how funny how things are. I continue getting more games. Now I have the Sega has become my my system because I trained my brother my PlayStation without games, but it's because at that time my stepbrother um gave me his PlayStation because I forgot. Oh yeah, I still had mine, but it was kind of messed up a bit. Um, so Now I had the Sega, the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. Well, my Nintendo broke, so I just kept the games. I still have them. I still have some of my games today as collectors, but um, I'm hoping that one day I would actually buy the original Nintendo again and test them out because they've been through rain and dust, and I cleaned them up, and so yeah. um any handhelds. It's kind of funny. Back in the days I used to have couple of them by Konami. My first one was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was a pretty cool handheld game back in the days. And I just look at the reviews, and um, uh, um, it's not the same, but they were pretty cool. I also had Top Gun, Sonic. Oh yeah, Sonic. Back then, when I have the Sega, on my top three games actually for the Sega was Sonic 2, uh, Power Rangers the movie, and Jurassic Park. Those were my top three Sega games actually. I'll try to talk about them later on. But yeah, I had quite a few handhelds, at least two of them that I can remember of. Um, really, you had the Pokemon handheld? Cool. I didn't think there was one because I remember back then there were the most famous hit Tiger games. Oh man, the Game Gear. I always wanted to have one actually, but I never did. Um, I have the emulator now, but some of the games aren't. I mean, they're decent, but not as good as I thought they would have been back in the day. Sonic Mortal Kombat. Yes, I like I said, one of my games was Sonic, and I remember playing Mortal Kombat, or Mortal Kombat 2 and Sega, which was cool back then. You know what? The Mega Drive. Wait, actually, the Mega Drive it's the Sega. They just changed the name, if I remember correctly. Yeah, especially the Game Boy. I always wanted to get my hands on the Game Boy, but I could never do that. Cool. Yeah, the Game Boy was pretty cool back in the days. I remember when I first played it with my godmother's son. I wanted to have one, but crazy that I never did. Oh man, don't get me there. The PSP was I have okay, so I bought the original PSP, which was the best, and one of my friends gave me the Yu-Gi-Oh. Uh, I forgot which Yu-Gi-Oh was it, but I loved that game so much, and he was going to hook me up with Crisis Core, which I'm getting Crisis Core. Oh, Nomad, the Nomad. I never played that game. Yeah, I never played the Nomad. Sorry. But yeah, as far as the PSP goes, I got ripped off, so I got my hands on another one thanks to the same friend that gave me his anime, and I trained my Parasite Eve games. We were back then. We were just acquaintances, not friends, just acquaintances. But we would trade stuff from time to time. And today, all of his anime became my anime collection. So yeah, then I had another PSP that I bought from Pap when I was in college, and that one I don't know what happened. What happened really? Like I don't know if I dropped it or something, cause that one disappeared, and I was disappointed, really, cause I still have some of my PC games. Oh man, talking about PC games, one of my favorite ones was Duke Nukem. Who could not forget about the good old Duke? I'll get into it at some point, but yeah, I have the one I bought from this my friend, the guy that gave me his anime collection and some action figure. He gave me his entire collection. I mean, posters, action figures, his anime collection on videos. But yeah, I got a PSP from him, and it was kind of weird because it played certain games and it didn't. But now it's more of a collector's item because I need to get a battery. It plays certain games because I needed to replace the lens, and besides the battery, I needed to get the power cord. So it's more of a, oh, Diablo. I remember that game for computer. Yeah, that was back in the days. I had Doom 95. I played Quake. My stepbrother had Diablo, and of course I also played with another friend, Duke Nukem. That's why I say, man, the Duke, the good old Duke will be missed. Seriously. I'll get into that sometime. Doom 95. Yes, it was a good game actually. I remember finishing the game, and oh my god, the ending was like, holy cow. Nice. I like I said, my gaming empire grew up with the years. I mean, from PC to consoles. Um I had up to the PlayStation 3. Well, my PlayStation 2 was after the one, and I remember my other friend, the one that uh, gave me his Nintendo games. He had to give me his PlayStation 2 because his dogs messed up mine. And later on, and I'm talking about 2000. Oh yeah, I forgot. He also gave me his Xbox. Um, also, Yeah, at that time, yeah, yes, Xbox and PSP were competing just like Nintendo and Sega did. The only thing about Sega and Nintendo was that Sega died because of the Dreamcast, which, by the way, guys, allowed us. The Dreamcast was actually the first game system to allow us to go onto the internet. First system. I'm not kidding you guys. What? Really? Oh man. I didn't know that because I mean I still have um some of my old Xbox games as collectors. Um yeah, I also got ripped off because one of my Xbox games favorite games was Beatdown. The Beatdown. I don't know if you guys heard of that one. It was an old mafia game. Um, yeah, pretty cool game if you tell me. So I got ripped off. I had at that time I had the Beatdown. I had Worms for Mayhem. I forgot what other Xbox. And the same guy that ripped me off wanted to take my Castlevania and my Streets of Rage games. I told them no because they weren't mine. Oh yeah, I also had Shenmue Part 2 for the Xbox. Really, we are on the same timeline. So yeah, as it happened, later on, I kept some. Well, I stopped having systems because I couldn't afford another system. So by the 2000, oh yeah, true. We're from that generation. We understand. Even moving on to the new generation of gaming, yeah. Um. So at that by the 2000. Oh man, I was working as a security guard. Um. And I remember I got really sick, and I had two. I spent 2 months at home. Um, yeah, 2000. I wanna say 2008, 2000. No, 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 no. I forgot when, but I was sick at home, lying down, and my friend again gave me his PlayStation 3. Oh yeah, Paperboy. I remember that game. I had it for the Super Game Boy. I had some. The ironic part is that I had when I had the Super Nintendo, I had the Super Game Boy. So yeah, I remember that the sequel to the yeah. Um. So when I had the Super Nintendo, I had the Super Game Boy, and I had uh two Pokemon games, and I had Paperboy, if I remember correctly. But going back to the PlayStation 3, man, I was having a blast, and I had quite a few games. Oh man, yeah. Every once in a while, you need to get some money for other things. I would agree. I would actually sacrifice a game to get some money for whatever I need. But um, yeah, you're talking about. I had a blast, and I actually didn't have any games for the PlayStation 3. So once again, uh, not this time, but my other friend, the guy that gave me his collection, he let me borrow quite a few games for the PS3. So while I was sick, I was playing PlayStation 3, and then once GameStop hit Brawley, oh man, I actually bought um yeah, the you should have seen the other PlayStations. Dude, I mean, the PlayStation 2 gave us the ability of going on, of watching DVDs, which was cool back in the days. Like, if you didn't have a DVD player, you were always able to, you had the,
I had one about the size of the mini. There was
uh,
a PlayStation one that was about the size of the mini.
oh, you mean like the PlayStation Mini I have?
Yeah, but it was close to that size.
So,
It was
oh,
that version.
so yeah, the PlayStation 2 was, um, let us play DVDs. Then the PlayStation 3, now that I mentioned having it, allowed us to play Blu-rays because the power went up to 720. That's Blu-ray quality. So yeah, um, nice. That's what I have to do with my PS4 nowadays because something happened where I and my friend warned me about putting discs, so I have to go digital on that. Um, yeah, PS4. Yeah, you gotta go. You have two options though. Um, yeah, even on PlayStation 3, you have that option of going digital, just buying the game straight from the PlayStation Network. Yeah, I remember doing that for a couple of times. But I used to grab the free games and I still do. So I mean, um, but what? No, wait. I remember there's some discs for the Xbox. I think you could still have discs and go digital. Not on the X series?
Nope. The S or the X is only 100% digital.
Damn. So yeah, that's shocking. So yeah, with the PlayStation 3, once GameStop came to Brawley, and yeah, guys, I I always done the cheaper. I mean, I had to be cheap because money wise, I wasn't good. So I would buy used games or movies. And even when I was a security guard, I used to do buy used games and movies because I wanted to save up money. Cool. Yeah. Uh, the first system I'm going digital is the PlayStation 4. Um, so yeah, shoot. So I got a lot of games that were given that I bought for the PlayStation 3, and suddenly my PlayStation 3 died. I was disappointed. Yeah, that's one thing about PCs and laptops. They're going now digital. The only way you could play a CD, DVD, or watch things is going uh,
You have a CD drive.
you have everything separated like I forget the term for it now.
CD drive.
No, it's like a separate. Oh God, I forget the term. Portable. That's right, portable. Now you gotta do it portable. Yeah, yeah. Microsoft has done that. I remember having a laptop that I had to actually go portable. Yeah, the new computers have that because I remember when when you had the towers, you had the DVD drive and the floppy drive, the A drive, which was pretty cool. Yes, Papa, yes, um, yes, the all-in-one. That's the one you have that you showed me that everything is now. Yeah. Oh yeah. Guys. If you want some good energy drink, try Race. Um, believe me, Race Energy. Um,
No sugar. No
it has no sugars, no calorie, no sugars, pure. Um,
no jitters.
you don't get the jitters. You don't get crashes. And if you use my promo code at repsports.com, you can get 15% discount on any purchase. Hmm?
And slow caffeine release.
And you get a slow caffeine release. Okay. All right. Cool. So yeah, I switch my monsters to races. You can see now. I'm not drinking monsters anymore. I'm breaking that habit because race is more healthier. But yeah, um, going back now, I got a PlayStation 4. Thanks to my friend and brother. He he actually switched to the Xbox. He had an Xbox X, but he sold it because some guy was just bugging him about it, and now he has I believe he has a PlayStation 5. And believe me, the PlayStation 5 is massive. You're talking about size in of a PlayStation 5. It's like almost like a computer tower. Uh, huh? Oh yeah. I remember giving this other friend my Xbox. He was going to fix it so I can have my emulators and that, but it never happened. So that Xbox is on storage at this point. Nice. But I thought you were going to uh, get one for yourself. If I remember correctly, you were mentioning that. Oh, sweetness. Though you're kind of going a little overboard on me, dude. Seriously. I appreciate it, though.
What's talking to me?
So yeah, so yeah, so yeah, what I was saying is, right now at this moment, my last system, and I'm not counting emulators, cause well, I could count my emulators, but that's all on my computer.
When is his birthday?
August 22nd.
Oh wow.
So, I am not counting the I'm not counting the emulators because they don't
That's
check
kinda
us.
funny. Mine's September 27th and he's August 27th.
Second.
Oh, second.
Um.
Oh,
The whatever I was saying. So right now my only well, I bought the Switch. Never mind. So I got two systems right now. The Switch, which um I'm playing. Man, yeah. All, believe it or not, guys, all my systems were hand me downs, but it was hilarious.
what?
I enjoyed every system that I had. I get it. So yeah, I got my Switch and I got my my PlayStation 4. Okay. So yeah, um and now most systems you can use your streaming. Like, what I'm blown away from PlayStation 3, you were able to stream. Was it PlayStation 3? um yeah, from the beginning of PlayStation 3 you were able to do streamings, and that meant if you had Netflix and other stuff, you would be able to stream stream it. I did that with the PlayStation 4. But yeah, um, now streaming is the bigger thing around. So we can see how the media has changed over the years. And yeah. Oh, I'm kind of lying. Sorry about lying to you guys, because besides owning a Switch um, I just remember it's not really a lie. Yeah, You could actually now stream Twitch on your. That's true, because there's a couple of people that has done Twitch streaming through their consoles. That's true. Um, Sorry, I didn't mean to lie to you guys, but I did bought other systems. Hey, Pixabin! Well, good morning and welcome to Leon's Corner. So, yeah, I it I didn't mean to lie to you guys about having only two systems, but I remember my friend also gave me his Wii. That was the guy that gave me his collection. So I got a Wii. I bought I I bought a Wii before, but it didn't work. So I asked my girlfriend to try to get me a Wii because we saw the Wii Mini on online. So I I I did give the money to my girlfriend to get me the Wii Mini. Problem with the Wii Mini, guys, is that that thing will overheat faster than you imagine. After 10 minutes playing, you had to shut it off. And there were some disappointments, which I'll try to get in more detail later on. But I also bought the PlayStation Mini. Cool. Yeah, the Wii was pretty cool. My girlfriend has she has the Wii U and the Wii. Yes. There were a lot of minis. They had the Sega. And guys, I'm just gonna come out forward with this because one of them resembled the Sega Genesis, and it was called uh, it was from 80 Games, and it was called the Flashback Legends. Guys, if you guys haven't buy it, okay, cool. If you guys haven't buy the Flashback Legends, I suggest you guys don't, because I had problems with it, and I mean, yeah, you could spend the same amount on a PlayStation Mini or a Nintendo Mini, the the same amount with the PlayStation Flashback. I don't recommend it. I'll do a section on that, and I'll continue the consoles because there's a lot to say about that. But I advise you. I don't want to bring nobody down or nothing because we're all gamers, and uh, and as part of being a gamer is that you have, yeah, you have your likes and dislikes. I'm not gonna lie to you, but but yeah, uh, sometimes you could get disappointed, and I realized that when I bought that console. So besides having that, I have the Switch, as I mentioned, and in addition to the Switch, I got the PS4. But again, like my friend said, do not risk it because it was at a warehouse, and um, you know, sometimes when things are stored in warehouses, um, things could go wrong. So for the PlayStation 4, I have to go fully digital. But yeah, so you can tell I had so many systems in a lifetime, and I'll probably have more coming soon. So I guess I still have my PlayStation 2 games and my PlayStation and my Nintendo games, but those are collectibles now. They're and my PlayStation 3 games. You know what? There were some issues with them. I didn't heard about that, but um yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was talking about. Uh that was what I was talking about my friend telling me not telling me that I should go digital because uh against it would be a risk going with the city. And also, yeah, they did fix that bug. Yeah. But also there was a disappointment, and that was by the creators of Final Fantasy VII, because I'm a fan. And as a matter of fact, the whole Final Fantasy franchise, which is it was SquareSoft, and because of the whole Final Fantasy movie issue, and they being saved by Enix, so now it became Square Enix. Yeah, there was a big disappointment. Uh, when they made Final Fantasy VII Remake, it was for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, those games were pretty cool back in the days. And I do have the collection of Kingdom Hearts for the actually the remake collection. Some of them you cannot play; they're more of a story thing. But I do have the collection for PlayStation 3. Um, yeah, when Seven Remake came out, it was nice and awesome. It gave you more detail about the storyline behind Final Fantasy VII, though there was a lot of confusion because of the fact that, um, guys, um, I'm gonna give you a heads up. This is going to be a big spoiler. So if you don't like spoilers, and I'm saying this because my friends are that way, I could care less about having spoilers because I would like you would tell me something about a movie, I wouldn't care. I would see it anyway. Cool. I mean, it's cool. So there's a spoiler here about Final Fantasy Remake. Um, and yes, other people has mentioned it on their streams. Zack Fair, Cloud's friend, he did they made it to the point where uh, instead of getting killed like on the first game, he survived the Shinra army. He was messed up, and there's a point, and you see it at the end of um, of Final Fantasy VII Remake. You see him walking with Cloud, and then you see Ares, who was supposed to be gone as well. You see him crossing Ares with Cloud, and you see Zack crossing with Cloud against each other, and it was revealed that it was a parallel or an alternative uh, uh, paradox, because also Sephiroth tells you that some weird stuff is going on. So yeah, you have to face new enemies. They're called the I forgot what they're called, but you also face Sephiroth afterwards. But so what happened is that, yeah, it's also guys, I'm sorry, it was also that was also a spoiler on Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, and I'm sorry about that, because Crisis Core is coming out this next month. So yeah, I kind of threw away the in both accounts. I kind of gave a spoiler. But if you played Crisis Core, it doesn't make any difference, because you know the storyline of Crisis Core. But I understand they made few yes, perhaps I'll have to get back on the whole Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Remake later on, because there's a lot of saying there. And then, of course, my biggest disappointment was that and a lot of people might be getting edgy about this, the second part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's an exclusive for PS5. Not 4. You cannot play it on 4. You have to have a PlayStation 5. Otherwise, you cannot continue the game. I was getting to that point. And PCM5 only. Yeah, that's right. But it was an exclusive for PS5, though. So yeah, a lot of you people might be disappointed. I was disappointed because, I mean, I'm a Final Fantasy VII fan. I grew up with it. It was one of my top games on the list. It was number 1 bestseller. It had a movie, which was the sequel to the game. It has a remake, which I was talking about. So you can understand you won't be able to play the other half of the game. Mm-hmm. So yeah, unless you get a PlayStation 5, yeah, the only way to finish up the game, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, is, sadly enough, but on PlayStation 5. That's the bottom line. There was a bad decision made, but I'm glad I'm glad they actually have um yeah, it is gonna be on a cross platform. So yeah, from PlayStation 5 it might go onto Steam or something, just like the original 7 did. So which I am happy because I have 7. I have Final Fantasy 7 four times, four times, believe it or not. So yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna go on to take another break, and feel free to talk more to each other, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, from last research I heard, a lot of consoles are starting to pull away from cross-platform.
Hey, Jake. Mine's is cheaper.
Yes,
Because when Disney first started, special effects never existed.
of course, they had to rely on others to do that.
Yeah.
Wow. I wish we had the money. Right now, they have a Limbo Tab MB third generation 8-inch tablet, 32 gigabytes storage, 3 GB memory, for 79.
But that's because of Black Friday.
Hmm?
That's because of Black Friday.
Yep.
All right, guys, I'm back. So anyway, what was the last thing I was saying? Um, oh yeah, Final Fantasy. So yeah, um, it's a shame, but when it comes to it,
Excuse me.
um, I was happy because I mean, at least Crisis Core's coming out on the Switch, and I remember back then, Final Fantasy was um, more of a what you call it, more of a Sony exclusive, but nowadays um, it's just weird. I was surprised when it came to the Switch. I mean the original Final Fantasy VII. So yeah, cool. So yeah, guys, will be more things added to this channel. So I would be setting up other things. I would have surprises for you guys, and things are. I'm just um on on chen let's say channel what's that word, um uh, man, I forget, uh, but yeah, just I'm working on my channel as we speak, so there are more things to come. And anyway, how are you all doing? Did you guys have a nice chat? Anything you guys wanna talk about, or continue on the topic of um, consoles? Cool. Yeah. So anyway, guys, my question is, what system, what system is your favorite system? And I'm going from the Atari all the way to now. Cool, cool. Xbox. Uh, Again, it's a toss-up, but I'm gonna go with PlayStation. So, Sinos, what's your favorite one? Which console is your favorite one? Mine's the PlayStation. Pop-up's the Xbox. What about you? Do you have a favorite game console or system? Cool. Another PlayStation. So that's two two Sony, one Microsoft. Come on, guys. Favorite console or system? Hey, the PS1. No kidding. I forgot about the good old PS1.
Oh,
Hey, and don't leave out the PSPs. Okay, I don't know about the Vita, but I have the original PSP and the Slim PSP. So um, I've seen the Vita, but I never tried it. So cool. So you've tried it before? Cool, cool.
that is cool.
Yeah, the PSP. Man, especially the original PSP. That was the bomb.
Big. Destroy and wagon.
And you know what's funny with the PSP now that I think of? You were able to watch movies.
Look at the price for it.
Actually, like I said, if you look from back then when Atari came out all the way to now, the whole media has changed like you have no imagine. Now you got your stream. Back then you had your gamers, but not streamers. Now you have your streamers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard about the PSP Vita, but I never played it. So, all right, guys. It looks like I'm gonna have to get ready to pass out the crown. So, guys, once again, thank you for being here at Leon's Corner. As I always say, it's an honor to have you guys. So now I'm ready to pass out the crown to our next streamer. Show them the love like you have shown me the love. So by saying that, I'll leave you all until next time. Remember, be safe, and this is Leon signing off. Peace out. Yeah, third birthday. Mhm.
There's no way to pass it. Hmm?